them up as we move along. So the next questions we're taking now is why now? So why do you need to do this now? And you know, for those who are Christians, pardon me if you're also from other religions, but I just need to set a story or give a story. It was a story about Noah and the Ark, really. And when I see AI, that story actually resonates with me. So the story was basically around God telling Noah that he wants to flood the earth with water and and all that. And Noah started building a ship, and of course, I mean, when he started building a very large ship that could take animals, and and we all know the stories as Christian. A lot of people were laughing. They were laughing because the question was, I mean, we have not seen rain in decades, and you're building this you have a very big ship. Where do you expect water to come from? So and when I see it in AI, I see it reflect in people's comments. So people are, of course, most of the time, um, if you're not very exposed within the IT space, some people still have this idea that the world is going to remain the way it is. We are not. I mean, AI is not going to do anything. AI is crap. AI is buzzword. AI is this. AI is that. But the funny thing is that just like Noah was announcing then that, look, prepare, come. People did not believe. Prepare yourself for the flood that is about to come. So I'm also being the Noah of my generation. I'm trying to say that of there's a flood that is coming, you know, and that will transform the way we work. That flood will do two things. Is either it will wipe you out of the the career space. The it will, how flood comes, it carries you away and takes you to somewhere, that a destination you never prepared for, or you will be prepared for the flood, and when it comes, really you sit in a in a good position like Noah, and you are safe. So that flood is information, is knowledge, is upskilling, is personal development. If you're not doing that in this time, it's in a very near future. It will come like a shock. So how it's going to come is that because organization is changing and the way we work is changing, really. I was talking to somebody one day. They'll just do a skill gap assessment within a company and drop some people. Why? Because they don't see the value they are creating. They don't see the value is not there. It's not in line with the plan or the goals of the organization. They have unconsciously become um, you know obsolete. But when it will happen, it will. So it's not like you're planning to be obsolete. It's just that there's certain things we need to do now to actually prevent that, and that takes us to the why. So why do you need to be in a hurry to upscale? Because why is because there is a lot of investments happening right now in the world that you need to be conscious of and aware of. And these investments, you will see them now, because that's why they call them investments. But the impact will be felt in probably 5, 10 years from now. And you will see that some of us will, at that time, if I always exempt Africa, because Africa sometimes is slow, but they will actually join. But most times, the advanced countries start this move first. So if you're moved to an advanced country, then should be a huge concern to you. First is the investments countries and nations are making in AI. Those investments should give you a pointer to where the next change will be moving to. So you need to be following up these things. When we first see these news and we just wipe our, we go to TikTok and all these social media that, of course, give us the value we want. But these are the kind of news that you should be conscious about. First is that you can see that EU's historic 200 billion investment, what it means for Europe AI's future. So if you're in Europe now, your thought should be these investments they are making in AI, how do I prepare also with Europe as they are making this investment? Because that's where the thing is going. Another pointer is you can see the next news there that AI stocks jump as Trump's 500 billion Stargate announcement. So even in our investments as individual, if you're investing in stocks that are AI driven, AI related, if you had made the investment earlier, hopefully you should have benefited. So it's not just about career. It transcends to even our investments, for those who want to diversify their revenue. Another news here says Google hub in Poland to develop AI use in energy and cybersecurity sector. What does this news mean to me? It means job opportunities in a specific area. So how do I benefit? I need to start upskilling in that area. Many people are not thinking in this space. Yeah, and that's the challenge. So when this job starts coming and somehow this change affects their career, they struggle. And people will start saying there are no jobs. I don't think so. There are jobs. It's just that you have not, upskilled in the area where these jobs are. And I have, by privilege, I have friends that are programmers, friends that are, you know, who design models, who have designed ERBs from scratch, and I see the way they are in demand. I just laugh, and people say there are no job. You know, I've seen people who companies have. There's a colleague of mine who he works for 9 months in a year, and the other 3 months he goes for vacation. The company will hold his role for him. He would actually, in quote, resign because he doesn't want any disturbance for those 3 months when he goes for vacation. It might also, it's not like he's taking leave, but he's actually telling you that he won't be working. But the company will say, okay, we'll keep this job for you. We'll get somebody on a part-time basis. When you come back, you continue from where you stop. Like they can't afford to leave him. There's also a colleague of mine who, in the UK here, he got a job. He's within the automation space. This thing called sponsorship that a lot of us are actually battling for in the UK. He got a job with a company, right? And he solved a problem that it took it took someone that they employed from, in quote, a country that they felt new technology. But this, my colleague or friend, of course, my classmate also solved that problem. And it will shock you that the company had never in their history, they're over 80 years, they have never in their history sponsored anybody. They don't even have a license to sponsor. They are never registered to sponsor work visas. But because of him, for the first time, they took the step to go and register with, of course, the UK government to be a sponsor, to actually have that license. And the only person they have sponsored in the company is himself, because they actually told him that, look, just give us some time. We're actually going to make this decision because of you. So the thing is that, when I hear these stories, what all it gets to me is that, look, the problem is not also there are no jobs, and the problem is that some people are really following the trend and they are picking up these skills. They are seeing where the investment is going, and they are trying to align themselves. Of course, we have the Indians who are very good at just following trends, and that's why they are virtually everywhere. And kudos to them. Of course, we have also the Africans that are doing a whole lot more, considering that where we're coming from most times, those opportunities were not there, but we're always, we have this hunger to always, do our best. The another thing news that should also interest you is, of course, Trump's announcement of $1 billion strategic AI investment, and we have UK, of course, from UK here. UK AI sector attracts £200 million a day in private investment since July. A day in UK, and this is from UK Gov. It's not from me. All these are not my. Of course, you can see they are newspapers. So so you can see the what the AI sector is attracting a day in private investments. So this should show you that if I am somebody who is concerned about my next career shift, I should be conscious, I will be worried. I should see these investments as opportunities to actually upskill. It's very, very important. So the next thing is what does this investment mean to me and my career? By now, you should understand where this whole thing is moving to. So if you check, another news here we have UK. Sorry, if you're please kindly mute yourself if you're not muted up, please, so that I don't. Thank you very much, guys. Okay, awesome. Okay, so another thing that should also interest you is that what does this investment mean to you? So you can see the first thing here says UK eases visa rules to attract top AI talent and accelerate tech innovation. So if you are a skilled AI person, already there are opportunities and countries are already easing off their visa rules just to attract people who have the skills. Another thing is UK government unveils strategic plan to attract global artificial intelligence talent. Of course, we have a visa we call global talent for those who are also in the school. I think one of the criteria is your ability to be able to create models and use AI tools. So this also tells you that, and that is news here is Canada's got AI talent. Let's keep it here. So of course, in Canada also we have seen a lot of startups, AI ecosystem and AI startups, within that. And the of course government has to support these startups and keep the skills within Canada. And of course, AI war heats up in Europe. So there is a war for talent. AI talent war heats up in Europe. So the question is, it's not that there are no jobs, but there are jobs. And this is where if you can now understand that the jobs are going to where the investments are. The jobs are moving towards where the investments are. That's why you need to upskill. You need to take these things seriously, whether you're in Africa, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in the Canada or the UK. You need to, because I've seen people who have these skills in other countries and have attracted, and of course, they have gotten opportunities even in the countries where they are sitting, and people have sponsored them, out of the country to other places where they feel they needed those skills a lot, of course. Yeah, so that's why you have to be very, very attentive as we move through this course. Now, this is also according to Forbes, right? AI skilled workers are the new hot in demand professionals. This is from Forbes. And that's why I said if you end this course and you are aware, I think I've achieved what I need to achieve. If this course ends now and I have just created an awareness in you, I think I have done all the job I needed to do, just to make you aware that look, there are opportunities really, but this is where the investments, the opportunities is actually coming from where the investments are actually going to. And this is, of course, in 2005. Then we have another one here that's 10 AI skills to boost your salary up to 47% in 2025. This is also from Forbes. And of course, we have some of those skills, that, can improve we have generative AI, we have AI neural networks, we have computer vision, we have, machine learning, deep learning, blah, 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 blah. We're going to see a little bit more detail as we go. This is 10 fastest growing AI skill in 2025. Then we also have a new hiring imperative from Microsoft and LinkedIn. Of course, these are two huge hiring platforms. So they're looking at the AI attitude, aptitude take center, AI aptitude take center stage. Now you can see here from their analysis, 77% of leaders say early in career talent will get greater responsibility due to AI. 71% says leaders are more likely to hire a less experienced candidate with AI skills than a more experienced one without one. Guys, if you let me rephrase, let me say it again so that you would understand. Now, like I said, this is a study in 2024 from Microsoft and LinkedIn. Microsoft is of course, one of the global companies, if not the number one in technology. LinkedIn is also, I think, the largest, if I'm not mistaken, talent, talent where talents meet, basically, like a talent community, and also a top employer of people around the world. And just to add, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile that's active, then your journey needs to start. You have to really get one. So let me read that again. 71% leaders are more likely to hire a less experienced candidate with AI skills than a more experienced one without them. So, guys, this is the this is the competitiveness, and this is what you should be concerned with. Yeah, this is the competitiveness. In fact, this is the crux of the matter. This is why, like I've kept saying, this is why if you are still in the traditional space, this is why you need to start now, because a new generation is coming or have started brewing that will challenge your traditional way of working because they have skills that are just okay. Yeah. So from this analysis now, you can see why people are scared about AI and how the advances for AI will take away their jobs and all that. The problem is that there are, like I've stressed before, if you don't move along with the waves, you're going to be blown away. But how it will happen will come. You won't. It's not like there'll be one massive push. Hey, if you don't have AI, leave the company. No, it will just be subtle. Somebody is a young man. I'll give you how people lose their jobs. Basically, a young man that just probably is in his 20s, and of course you have experience, you have certificates, you have masters, you have PhD, and all that. What happens is the company will have a problem, a very small problem, and they will throw it to you who have the experience and the exposure and the certifications and all that. And ideally, this problem will ideally when you're thrown a problem in a corporate setting, there are two things the person who gave you that problem is expecting. One is expecting you to solve that problem. One. Two is expecting you to solve that problem on time. So one is expecting you to solve that problem, and two, you have to solve that problem on time because that person needs the solution to make a decision. No. So I'm telling you how gradually you'll be, people who don't want to upskill will be replaced. So when they throw that problem at you, of course, you use all the traditional tools you have. You will see that the problem might be quite massive and it will take you a lot of time because you use your manual approach and you have Excel sheets. You need a lot of Excel sheets to analyze it and run it and do that. Yeah, so hopefully you solve the problem, but it will take you a lot of time. And they employed this very young man who doesn't have degrees, but of course he knows how to use stats. He knows how to use um, knows how to use Python, and has some very basic programming skills. And they give him the same data, and he basically just writes a program, and boom, in a space of 5 minutes, he will solve the problem. So, so now just imagine how the MD will feel if it took you 1 month and it took this person 5 minutes. There's no, in terms of value, it's not about your certificates and your degrees. in terms of value, this young man has more value than yourself. And in the Western world, the way they see value is not about your. In fact, sometimes you go for interview, nobody asks you for your degrees, nobody asks you for all the certifications you have. People just want you to solve problems. Yeah, it's somewhere in Africa where we need to have all the certifications, which is quite good. I mean, I won't say it's not good, but that's not the focus. The focus is soft skills. The focus is to align with trends and provide solutions quickly so that they can make decisions. So that's how people will. That's how before you know it, the next day they have a problem. They won't give it to you. They will give it to the young chap. Yeah, then you start. Then then hopefully you start disturbing God. You start going for all night, start doing prayer and fasting. You start, looking for people somewhere that are trying to hunt you and all that. Meanwhile, this young man is busy. In the night, he will just sit down and throw some codes and get it done. And of course, over time, they see you're not adding value and they tell you, sorry, I think this guy will need to. They'll tell you, sorry, we don't have money to, we're trying to downsize. They're trying to downsize, but they're buying an official car for this young man and they're telling you to go. So that's just giving you a scenario of why these 71% people have said that they are more likely to hire less experienced individual with AI skills than more experienced of them without, because it will take you more time to solve problem than the guy who has AI skills. Sorry. I hope this has actually given you some insights. Just a minute. Into why you need to be very, very concerned. Then the next one says leaders will not hire someone without AI skills. These ones are even worse. This set of leaders are why most of us who have relocated do not have jobs, or we're doing jobs we don't like. Because other than the fact that some of the careers you need to have experience, UK experience, which is vital and which is key. Some of us have migrated into other countries without relevant skills, really, without relevant skills that are relevant in the country where you're actually relocating to. And most of the people throwing out, most of the people advertising for jobs are part of this 66%, and they look at your CV, they say, nah, this guy may not be able to deliver the value we're looking for. So 66% of leaders will not hire. So I hope that by this presentation from Microsoft and LinkedIn, you can also go back and do your research. I wish I dropped the link here, but you definitely see it in the internet. So I hope that by this finding that happened in 2024, you have no doubt now that it's either you upskill and either keep your job, or you upskill to get a new one. There's no sitting on the fence. There's no issue around AI will work, AI will not work. That's not it. It's either you upskill to maintain the one you already have, or you upskill to get hired. Those are the two options we all have. And that is the essence of this course. And if you look at Africa, for example, why has countries like UK, Canada attracted all the skills? Of course, if you take Nigeria, for example, most skilled people have left. Really, they have left because these countries are smart. Of course, they want you to come and live in their country and all that. They need your skills, and they're attracting the skills from even countries like Africa. And they say it's a whole challenge now. Of course, there was a time we had an issue with most of the programmers and of course data administrators leave the bank, and the banks in Nigeria, some of the banks were having having difficulty with meeting with customers, demand, because some of the skilled workers had left. So also other countries where migration is very high. So that shows you that these 66% of leaders don't mind even getting skilled people from other countries to come and do the job for them. They will go anywhere in the world to find the people who have the skills to do the job for them, make them comfortable, and let them do the job for them. So I hope this is actually a wake-up call for all of us, that this study alone should make us unsettled, in as we navigate through careers, whether we're in Nigeria, whether we're in outside, whether we're in Europe, you should be concerned. And of course, now we have 50 top leading companies on artificial intelligence in 2024. So this was actually put forward by Thinkers 360. So if you find yourself within these companies, you should also make sure you're upskilling. Of course, we have the TCS, we have Microsoft, we have PwC, we have most of these companies. We're not some of us do not know them, most of them know them, but these are these are companies that are leading the charge for AI implementation. This was as at 2024. Yeah. So we're going to now go to the next stage, which we're going to be asking a question again. Let me check if we have any questions. Okay, thank you very much, Tamomo, for sharing that.